Ladies, gentlemen, and genetic anomalies, what's happening? Hope you guys are having a great day. If you're not, I hope that at the very least, this day gets at least a little bit better for you. This is going to be a very, very short stream. I'm going to try to be short, concise, to the point. I wanted to talk about some trending topics that have been swirling around in both the content creation world as well as the political world. There were a couple things I wanted to talk about when it comes to politics as well. Some big stories that I felt like probably couldn't wait till the weekend. I'm actually pretty busy in general, but I figured that, like, I don't know, I'm gonna be less busy now than I am right now. Hold on, wait a second. This light is too dim. Wait a second, how do I? Okay, hold on. There we go. There we go. This is the brightness that we're looking for. I know sometimes people come into my comment section being like, oh, it's too dark, which, like, to be honest, the lighting in here is actually specifically chosen to be somewhat cinematic. You know, just having like shadows over part of the face that's, like, you know, a relatively aesthetic feature. I know it's not anything crazy, but I figured it's a flair I should add to sort of make myself stand out visually at least a little bit. But yeah, that was definitely too dark. Here we go. This is, you know, hey, I'm black. You know, it can only be so dark in here. You know, I can't just rock with the complete darkness. Maybe if I was white, it would work. Maybe. But actually, I'm going to go ahead and cut off the music because I do want to go ahead and get to the big trending stories here. There was this one story. I've been wanting to react to this for a while. I know earlier I did a video about Mogul Mail, but it seems like Mogul Mail is truly dead. Apparently, Ludwig has murdered Mogul Mail and is wearing his skin. Now, I have not actually watched this video yet. However, I actually do sort of know that, yes, it does appear that Mogul Mail is indeed dead, because if you go to the Mogul Mail channel, here, let's check it out. He has not posted in this here says a month, but at the time I'm recording this is the 24th of October. He last posted a video on the 1st of September. So, you know, his channel, he has not posted in, we're getting up to like 2 months now. 2 months now. Now, he made well, he did make this video. There's a segment from a stream that was clipped by PGL Edits, which, by the way, props to PGL Edits. He does some pretty good uploads of shorter content that doesn't make it to Ludwig somehow. But he posted a clip of Ludwig talking about, I think talking about the future of Mogul Mail from what I gathered. So let's run the clip.
Thoughts on what Asmongold said? I don't think Asmongold thinks about what he says. So if I were to waste what I think about on what he says, I'm fucking up somewhere in my life.
I forgot that this was in response to the whole, like, Asmongold situation. By the way, I'm not going to talk about Asmongold in this video. I've already done one video about it. If I'm going to do another video about it, it'll be a completely separate thing. Let's just focus on the fun part, which is Mogul Mail getting murdered. So let's keep going here.
Bro, not to be on some mightier than thou shit, but I actually genuinely removed x.com, the everything app, from my phone. I don't keep up with this shit anymore. And also because I don't do Mogul Mail anymore.
He doesn't do Mogul Mail anymore. It's dead. Finally official. I think it's sad, but honestly, I do appreciate sort of the honesty and the willingness to accept the fact that, yeah, Mogul Mail is dead. Because sometimes people will, like, sort of, like, quit a project, or they'll be, like, on the fence about whether or not they want to continue it, and they'll be like, you know, I'll come back to it at some point. But no, here he's saying that Mogul Mail is dead. I appreciate him giving a definitive answer on that.
Up with this shit anymore. And also because I don't do Mogul Mail anymore, I'm like a little bit out of touch because I haven't done a Mogul Mail in a month. What I do is I watch League of Legends videos, I play League of Legends, I do my work, I hang out with my girlfriend, I go to bed. Now, having said that, I saw that Asmund said some dumb shit because I still got X the Everything app on my computer. But, like, what do you mean? What do you want from me about it? This is the reality we live in, bro. This is most commentary channels, right? Commentary channels is weighing in on shit people know nothing about. Shit, I did it for years.
I mean, to be fair, one of the things about being a commentary channel is that you're supposed to know what you're talking about. Now, you could posture and be like, you know, I don't really 100% know what I'm talking about here. I'm just some dude on the internet. Some people do that. Excuse me. But like usually they will at least claim to have some understanding of the situation. Otherwise, you know, why are you watching a video of someone talking about something if they're going to be like, I have no idea what I'm talking about? Like, that's not a great pitch for a commentary channel. Like let's be honest.
You know, I would like to think a little more self-awareness and humility, but not all the time. Why don't you do Mogul Mail now? Because it wasn't worth the money for what it made my life like, which is worse. Because the crowd that is brought by video titles that look like this are not people who are chill. And the crowd who comes with videos that look like this are chill people. And the additional revenue I would earn for making these videos doesn't really tend to be worth that additional headache. That doesn't mean
it's an interesting point to make. I will say, like, because part of me hates it to see like an internet content creator bend to the will of the mob on the internet, which it sort of does seem like Ludwig did capitulate to those people. But at the same time, right? If that's not something he wants to deal with, he's completely within his right to say, you know what, I'm just gonna, you know, me sacrificing my peace of mind is not worth all of this money. I'm gonna give it up. That's completely fair. As a fan, hey, I wish that Mogul Mail was still around, and I honestly think that he could still do Mogul Mail type videos without, receiving a lot of the hate that he got. I think there was a way that he could have avoided the bullies while still doing Mogul Mail, but that would have been some extra work. He might have even considered that himself and been like, hey, I could keep doing this, but I don't think it's worth it. To me, like, I still get enough morsels from Ludwig for it to be entertaining to me, but I have actually moved on to watching more people like I don't know, Soda Poppin', a little bit of Asmund Gold, like XQC, more Pyrocynical, for that type of like talking head type content. But even then, like, you know, I have limited time to consume such content anyways. The rate that Mogul Mail was releasing those videos was perfect for me. Once a week, I have time to maybe watch those types of videos maybe a little bit more often than that. So it's not like, you know, a big chunk of my YouTube consumption has been absolutely gutted and there's nowhere for me to go. You know, there's that too.
That doesn't mean I'll never upload it on it again, but I've enjoyed my break right now. I've enjoyed it.
So he clarifies that he's on a break. I think that he sort of put the project in a healthy place where it's like, I'm not actively doing this, but I can come back whenever I want. It's like inverse addiction. I love this. I think that this is a great strategy to choose because there might be some times when he actually does want to make a Mogul Mail. Maybe he wants to do a little shameless plug or an ad for something that he is doing or something that Off-Brand is doing, right? Or maybe, I don't know, there's a genuine scandal or accusation against him that he needs to address and he wants to like pull up like receipts or something. Mogul Mail wouldn't be the worst venue in the world to do that from. Although I could see why he would want to post that for main as well. Like there might be some like genuine fun content or fun things he wants to talk about that he could post on Mogul Mail and the audience would be normal. And if he decides, hey, you know what? I think it's worth it for me to make this one video about this one person. I'm going to go ahead and do it. It's really great that he's left that window open rather than like, I don't know, shuttering the whole, channel down or whatever. That would have been a little bit much.
You were doing numbers though? Yeah, who gives a shit?
Bro, if he cared about the numbers, dude, he would have never stopped doing Mogul Mail videos. What he was doing was working, right? And as he was getting hate for talking about or not talking about whatever it was, what was it? Like Mr. Beast, he was like refusing to talk about the Mr. Beast situation. And so people got mad at him. He could have rode that hate wave. Hate drives engagement. So, he could have done that strategy as well, but he chose not to because it's not about the numbers to him. He cares about numbers more when it's like live events that he's throwing, because he wants them to be big things that people gather around and care about. But I get the impression that he's not someone who's like super obsessed with the numbers that he sees in the YouTube studio.
That ain't the only thing that like you can get numbers doing a lot of shit, bro. I can go full Tucker Carlson. I get some numbers.
No.
If that's the only thing that matters, I think you'd have a pretty warped view pretty quick.
That also is true. Bigger number, better person.
Here's the deep, dark secret.
Bigger number, better person. bro. I must admit, I don't really watch Ludwig anymore, but his chat is hilarious, dude.
Bigger number, better person. Here's the deep, dark secret. Oftentimes, bigger number means worse person. That's the real secret, man.
There. And that's the Mr. Beast commentary that we were looking for.
That's the real secret. They don't want you to know. They don't want you to know. At this point, you have to take an elevator to go from one eye to the other. Okay, we're done on that. We're done on that.
I don't know what that picture was. What was that? I don't. But anyways, yeah, I think it's great that he's sort of solidified where he's at with Mogul Mail. Man, my little hinge thing is squeaky, but I'm glad that he did that instead of leaving his whole audience in sort of limbo. I think that uncertainty isn't like the best, especially when you've got like audiences who have their own expectations. It's always great to be open and be like, hey, this is where I'm at. This is what you can expect from me. This is the type of content that I'm going to create. Now, I am going to double down on my earlier take that it's a shame that he's shutting down Mogul Mail, because Mogul Mail has a lot of potential. He could still do it well without accruing all of the hate, but at the same time, again, he thinks it's not worth it for him. He enjoys having the extra spare time, so I can't really hate on him for going that route. And I hope that he gets the peace of mind that he's looking for with this new move. I wish him the best. There are going to be other people who are going to fill that Mogul Mail spot. Honestly, I think a lot of commentary creators are pretty replaceable, in my opinion. This might get me some hate, but I think a lot of them are pretty replaceable. So people can easily move from like Mogul Mail to Pyro Live to all these other content creators. I don't think that he's harming his fans by depriving them of something vital to their existence. I think that the Mogul Mail fans will be just fine. I know for myself, I am just fine. Yeah. Hold on, let me see here. Wait, what happened to this? This is not accurate. Hold on. I had a bit of prep pulled up for one of the things I was planning on talking about. Let me see here. It's the subject after the next. Okay, there we go. This is what I was looking for. Okay. I'm gonna need this for my next subject. You guys can't see it, but there's one thing I want to talk about before all of that. A lot of people in the right-wing space are sort of like left in disbelief at what's going on with Tim Pool. And as a relatively casual Tim Pool fan, or a Timcast IRL fan, I also have been very interested in the recent developments of what's been happening with, Tim Pool basically having a meltdown on Timcast IRL, raging calmly, but still raging against his employees, saying people were picking up the slack or doing what they needed to do, et cetera, et cetera. And basically saying, you know what, he works 16-hour days. He doesn't see the sun at night, or like he doesn't get to see the sunset. He wants to be able to hang out with his girlfriend, and he doesn't think that Timcast IRL is worth the headache. And he also thinks that something of the scale that he's working on with Timcast IRL, like that type of show, is just not sustainable for him. And many people took umbrage with him making these statements. And I take umbrage too, but I'm not going to take as harsh of a stance as many others took, because I think that I love transparency between like the creator and the audience. If there's some sort of like meltdown and the employees there didn't do what they were supposed to do, I would like to know. I would like to know, hey, what went wrong with your equipment? Hey, who didn't do what they were supposed to do, and who did do what they were supposed to do? Who and like what were they supposed to do in order to fix the issue? What's the timeline of events that caused these things to unfold? But I think it's a little bit different than what Tim did. He sort of like railed on these people for like 2 hours, like basically spitballing ideas of what to do next. Now, some people were saying that he's clickbaiting for views, or he was clickbaiting for views. I frankly disagree. And I know this is kind of going to be a hot take, but I actually disagree. This is because, and I've been in situations very similar to where he's been, not nearly on the same scale, but you've got a project, something happens to it and things become inoperable. I've had multiple, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Plex servers. They're basically servers where you store media on your server and you get to stream it wherever you happen to be over the internet. I've had multiple Plex servers in the past fail on me for various reasons. And, when something like that breaks, it makes sense to have the, or at least I relate to having the initial frustrating or frustration fueled response of, oh, you know what? I should just give up. Running this project isn't worth it. I could be playing video games. I could be hanging out with my friends. I could be watching TV. I could be doing all these other things. I could be watching the sunset. I don't need to deal with this. This thing is just not something that's possible for me to do. It's not possible for me to run this. It's not possible for me to build this. This is just useless and a waste of my time. That sort of response, that sort of like guttural instinctive response, is something that's very, very normal when you're running projects, especially when they have larger scales. But I think one problem is that when you're sort of in that state, you're not reflecting what your decision is going to be long term. You can rage and be mad for hours, be like, oh man, my computer broke, my server broke, I can't believe this. I'm just gonna give up. I'm gonna throw my computer into the river. Like you can have like all of these types of perspectives and like instinctive thoughts at the beginning, but then once you've cooled off for like several hours the next day, you might be thinking more clearly and have a better idea of what you actually want moving forward. Maybe you think it actually is worth it, but you were just frustrated. That's sort of what I was looking at that stream like, with that perspective of someone who's actually run things before. And that actually seemed to be the case. Timcast IRL is still going on. This is a Thursday. I'm quite sure that Timcast IRL will be broadcasting tonight. Sorry about that. Still be broadcasting tonight. And yeah, turns out he was just frustrated. Now, he did need to do some downsizing. He did end up firing people. I think one thing that was interesting too was that while complaining and saying that like a show of this magnitude is impossible for him to run or create or whatever, something that came to mind when he was talking about the show being unsustainable for him to run or impossible for someone to manage is, Ethan Klein has been able to run something with a very similar setup where you've got multiple hosts, you've got like co-hosts and all this stuff in a room, got cameras switching back and forth, you've got an overlay where you can pull up stuff from the internet, and he's run that without similar hiccups. At least from how I understand it. Like H3H3 has not had technical issues to the point where, you know, you're melting down live and you know, threatening to cancel your own show. So I think that shows that this, at the end of the day, is Tim Pool's fault. Now, one thing that Tim Pool complained about was, oh, we've got employees who are lazy. Employees just don't want to work. Well, you know what you do if you got employees who don't want to work? You fire them. You fire them. You don't keep them on staff and then complain about them not doing what you've hired them to do. Look, if employees are being lazy and you're continuing to employ them, be honest with yourself. You're hiring people to be lazy for you. That's literally what you're doing. You can't do that. That's not sustainable. So this guy has hired these people who apparently are not doing what they're supposed to be doing, and then he's complaining that they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. Hire better people. And another thing too is, like, Tim Pool kind of insinuated that he doesn't want to be that guy bossing people around, and he doesn't want to be mean to his employees in order to get them to do what they need to do. And honestly, I sympathize with that, because I am, unfortunately, in many aspects of my life, I am a people pleaser. I like making people happy or whatever. I don't really like pressing people too much. Of course, there are certain areas where I try to sort of like shed that aspect of myself, like content creation. But in general, yeah, I tend to be a people pleaser. But I think at a certain point you have to realize, hey, if you're in like even in social situations, you can be in a leadership role, right? And part of being a leader is you have to say things that people aren't going to like, or say things that will cause tension between people. So sometimes you have to have difficult conversations and be like, hey man, you've got to do this, you know? And you know, the nice thing about being a people pleaser is that you can put things like that in a nice way, but also still make sure that you get the I don't know, the meaning across. I've actually had to do this with other with the coworkers. Not often, but occasionally it's like, hey man, you know, this happened and this sort of threw off my own work process. You know, you need to make sure that you're putting in your records so that I can trace back what you're doing, so that in the future, if I'm trying to pick up, you know, where you left off or whatever, then I'm able to do that rather than having to chase down these records and whatever. I've had to have similar conversations with people, so I understand. But Tim Pool has to be honest with himself as well and say, hey, you know, if I can't tell people to do what they need to do and motivate them to do what they need to do, I need to hire someone who can do that. And in the episode after the meltdown, Tim Pool did state that that's what he's doing. He's hiring what he called outside management, which seems to be like actual middle management that will actually get his employees to do what they're supposed to do. That's awesome. I'm all about that life. That's dope. Now, the one thing, though, is that he fired some people. And these are not just behind the scenes, folks. These are journalists who work for Timcast News. One of these people was actually an on-air personality, Hannah Brimlow. Now, I understand if he needed to downsize the show for money reasons, and I hear rumors that there were behind-the-scenes stuff. Like, apparently, these are all rumors, by the way. Look up like Adam Krigler or Satellite Jack or whatever if you want to hear you know, more accurate interpretations of these rumors. But apparently, like, Tim Pool's brother, Chris Pool, potentially sabotaged the equipment because he wants to destroy the show for whatever reason, even though he works on and for the show. Like, I don't know how that works, but apparently that's what the rumors say. And you know, because he sabotaged it and he's trying to sabotage other things behind the scenes, Tim Pool might have said, okay, whatever, forget this. I've wanted to have you near me, but, you know, this is the final straw. I can't have you sabotaging my livelihood. You're out. And allegedly, Hannah Claire Brimlow is dating Chris Pool. And so because Tim Pool was like, hey, you know, Chris, you're out, gone. I don't want you on the premises or whatever. Hannah Brimlow might have been cajoled into leaving, or Tim might have fired Hannah Brimlow and been like, hey, you're too close to Chris. I can't have you around me. I can't take on that risk. And if that's the case behind the scenes, that's extremely unfortunate. I hope that it's just a matter of downsizing and having fewer people to manage, making things easier for Tim. I hope that that's the reason why. And I think another thing too is I can only feel so bad because Hannah Brimlow has an extraordinary talent, like for, being on camera and being an on-air presenter. She once hosted Timcast IRL by herself, and they tongue-in-cheekly called it Brimcast, but it was because like Tim was like sick or whatever, or on vacation. And she did such a good job that people had been asking to have special episodes of Timcast where she is the host. So what that signals to me is that Hannah Claire can just like do her own show, and she will have tons of viewers flocking to her. Honestly, she could recreate something like Timcast, but with a lot of the fired personalities from Timcast IRL, and I think that her show will go gangbusters. Literally call it Brimcast IRL. I think that she would be extremely successful. So like I think a lot of the people who got fired, they're so good at what they do. They're either so good at what they do that they're going to be able to find other jobs and maybe regain some of their fan bases, or they're so bad at what they do that they're not going to get a job. And at that case, like, bro, you don't even deserve it. So like, but I'm just glad that Timcast IRL is still around. Like, honestly, if Tim Pool decided to cancel the show, at the end of the day, he said he would still do his daily show, and his daily show is pretty good. I like how he can have other voices and other opinions on the Timcast IRL show. I think that's the Timcast IRL strength. But at the end of the day, most of the co-hosts on there agree with him anyways. I think, and that makes them redundant in some respects. So, if all he has is a daily show, hey, I'll watch the daily show. That's fine. But I just hope that, things calm down behind the scenes. Oh, also I forgot to mention that part of this happened because he was already stressed because he had this secret that he was harboring from his audience for a while. And this deep, dark secret was that he and his girlfriend are expecting. And actually, like he and his girlfriend are engaged, whatever, like they're going to become a nuclear family, whatever. And that is very, very exciting news. I wish them the best. I hope all that stuff goes well. And I can understand with all of that going on behind the scenes, how that would add extra stress and make him question whether or not he wants to continue Timcast IRL as well. I would hope that he takes a paternity leave. He needs to find some sort of fill-in host as well who can still do the show so that he can take some days off, because otherwise that's going to be a mess. Him, being a full-time parent while also, doing shows literally from like the sun going up to the sun going down. That's just not going to be a good recipe. But I also hope that he can find a way to transition perhaps into from running a show to being on a show, right? Because that's a possibility too. There's a difference between running a company and running a show and being part of a show. I think a healthy way to transition like into being more present with his child, if that's something he wants to do, is eventually find another host who can, run Timcast IRL from time to time, and then transition into one of those hosts being the main host. And then whenever he wants to, like if there's really big news or something he really wants to talk about live in the evening, then he can pop in and be on Timcast IRL as like one of the guests or even as the guest. But, hand that off to someone else. Pass the torch. Rush Limbaugh did the exact same thing. He had a roster of guest hosts that he would filter, that he would cycle through. Like Mark Stein was my favorite, but Dan Bongino, he was the one who ended up getting that spot. I think that it's fine if he transitions it, but I hope that the show at least continues because I think that the audience is great. I find the commentary interesting. yeah, I hope that the show doesn't end up getting destroyed. But I also want the best for Tim. So if the best thing for Tim is for him to step back from the show, I respect that. I just think that, that show, fuels jobs. There are people who work on just that show. So if he has to step away from the show, I hope he finds a way to keep the show going so that the other people don't get fired and that we as fans still have content. I would appreciate that as a viewer. I know that was a little bit rambly, but that's what I get for not having proper show prep and not having notes. I just wanted to do this stream in the spur of a moment because there were a few things I wanted to talk about. That was one of them. I've got a couple other things I want to talk about. One last topic, and then I will go into the big announcement that I have for the stream. I know I put that in the title, but I didn't hype it up very much because it's just going to be its own video. But yeah, let's do this here. All right. So a lot of people are wondering who was going to win the presidential election. And it's interesting because general consensus actually seems to be shifting. So for the majority of the election, I think the general consensus. Oh my goodness, this popped off. Hold on. Gotta put this back in here. I do need to sort of repair this. I'm not going to move the camera over, but the apparatus that this is on is sort of there's something here that needs to be redone. I'll just put it like that. Besides the point, maybe I'll talk about it in another stream, but it seems like general consensus has been that Donald Trump was going to lose either to Joe Biden or to Kamala Harris. That there's no way that either of them could that there's no way that Donald Trump could possibly win the election. No way in the world. Well, as Kamala Harris over time has been losing her advantage in the polls, especially in battleground states, it really seems like the tide is turning and that Trump might actually win. Now, I'm going to give my predictions on who's going to win, but what I did was I sort of took 3 different models. I averaged them out in order to come to my conclusion. I'll talk about each of these models that I used, with the necessary, brevity or verbosity. But here, this is the first thing I used as the model. This is actually just the Real Clear Politics map. If you see it here, I know that my camera is going to cover part of it, but the long and the short of it is, if we take the current polls into account with no toss-ups, what we get is Kamala Harris having 220. What we get is Kamala Harris with 226 electoral college votes and Donald Trump with 312 electoral college votes. So according to Real Clear Politics, it seems that Donald Trump is going to win. But I decided to not just take their word for it, but go through the 538 polls and try to analyze things for myself and see, where things lie state by state. And I used 2 algorithms, if you want to call them algorithms, for making predictions. Now this one, I called this the red map. This is the red map. This is if you take all of the polls and then you shift everything to the right by 2%. And the reason why I chose 2% is that I've heard that the polls on average have been off by anywhere from like 3% to 8%, but 3% is where, the error tends to be. Usually the polls are off by 3%. So I figured, let's not exaggerate things. Let's keep things within the realm of possibility. Let's say 2% instead of 3%. If all of the polls were shifted to the GOP by 2%, what would happen? And actually what we see is something very similar to what we see here with the Real Clear Politics model. We have Trump winning with 314 electoral college votes against Kamala Harris, who is having 224 electoral college votes. Now, one thing I find interesting is that this is basically taking into account all the state polls. And one thing that you have to consider as well is that many of these states actually don't have recent polls. Some polls date back to like April, and like that's the most recent poll that they have when it comes to a head-to-head. Right, like they're still pitting Trump against Biden at that point. So you've got to take into account that some of this data is going to be old, but it's just the best that we have to go on. But one thing I also found interesting is that when you compare my red map to the Real Clear Politics model, things are basically the same, right? Things are basically the same. Now, I did do something similar. Also, I made something called the blue map. Now, these two maps represent best case scenarios that I think are reasonable estimates. So if for the Republicans, if things are going to go right, the best case scenario is probably going to look something like what you see on this map here, with Trump getting 314 electoral college votes. But for Kamala Harris, I think her best case scenario is actually more, getting 317 electoral college votes. And this basically is the same algorithm, but it's inverse. So if we give a 2% advantage to Kamala Harris. Now, I think that this is less likely because, in order for this to be true, in order for this to be accurate, the polls would have to undersample Kamala Harris support by any amount. I think by 2% is enough to say by any amount, right? They got to undersample Kamala Harris supporters by 2% or more in order for a victory like this to take place. And honestly, if you look at a lot of polls, they actually oversample Kamala Harris support. So I think it's more likely that we see a red map than a blue map. But hey, I got to be honest, that's my own personal bias there. I could be wrong in that front. And hey, I don't think our polls have been any more wrong or data, whatever the things we would typically use to analyze elections. I don't think that stuff has been more wrong than it has been in 2020. So things might even be even more off, and it might be even harder to make predictions in this election than the last election. But, the data that we have is the data that we have. We can only go on the information that we've got. So, so this is the best case scenario for the Democrats if you shift the polls over. I find it very interesting that if you shift if you give Trump a slight advantage, nothing changes. But if you give Kamala a slight advantage, the whole game changes. But I think part of that too is that in many battleground states, Kamala Harris has leads of like less than 1%, if that. There are many states where, depending on which polls you're looking at, Donald Trump actually has the lead, but they're narrow margins. And so if you remember what I said in a recent video, that the determinants of this election might come down to just like 50,000 votes. I think that this illustrates that. Many of these states, you see some of the states here that are switching are like purple states like Nevada, Arizona, Minnesota, Wisconsin, or not Minnesota, I meant Michigan, but Michigan, Wisconsin, and even like North Carolina, Pennsylvania. These are the states that flip based on oversampling or undersampling in these polls. So I find it interesting. I wonder if Kamala Harris wins, are things going to look like my blue map? And if Trump wins, are things going to look like my red map? I'm interested to see that. But at the end of the day, my estimation is pretty much the same as my estimation for the red map. I honestly think that, Trump is going to end up winning by a lot of electoral college votes, but not by a lot of popular votes. I think he actually might lose the popular vote. That wouldn't shock me either. We'll see what we'll see. But those are my predictions for the election. Now, of course, I've got to caveat everything and couch all my statements by saying I'm not a professional political analyst. Yes, I do make YouTube videos about politics, but it's mostly for fun. I don't get paid to do this, and I don't have any special credentials. So take what I'm saying here with a grain of salt. I think if people are telling you that they know exactly how this election is going, they're either, not telling the truth, or they're the ones doing the cheating. No, we don't know if there's going to be cheating in this election. We'll just have to wait and see. But no, these are just my I think slightly educated guesses would be a good way to put this. So I am no ways putting money on it my predictions here, and neither should you, by the way. This is not financial advice. Not financial advice. But if you guys have predictions or you disagree with any of my analysis there, let me know in the comments below, because I'm very interested to hear your guys' thoughts and what you guys think is going to happen with the presidential election. All right, so we've got the last thing. Oh, the Coke Oreos. I've got to try those. Hold on. Actually, I'm gonna do that after I give the announcement. I'm gonna go ahead and give the announcement because I'm sure that some of you guys have waited for a while. But okay, here is the big announcement. Big announcement is this. All right, hold on, wait. I've got an announcement for you guys. A big announcement of massive content night that I have planned for you guys. I'm actually still planning this. But this is not just going to be me. This is going to be a collaborative effort between me and other members of my Discord server. If you're not part of my Discord server, join it. The link is on screen. But yeah, I plan on doing a presidential election stream. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be a marathon. We're going to be taking in data and information from various sources and reacting to them as they happen, reacting to election calls, giving predictions on what the election results might mean for various groups or whatever for America. And I so far have locked in 2 people from my Discord server who are willing to be part of the political panel that's going to be reacting to things live. One of them is Callan Slayer, big friend of the stream, big friend of mine as well, one of my closest friends. Very, very happy to have him on the stream. He's going to be another voice on the right as well. We've also got Craig of Craig Cam fame. If you guys remember, back when I first started streaming, remember the Craig Cam? He always chimed in with his own thoughts. He is closer to the center or to the left, so having him on there will be a very interesting and I think a very helpful counter to some of the right-wing rhetoric spewed by some of the other folks on the stream. I'm also trying to get what's his name? ISM, Mini Wheat onto the stream as well, because I think that he also would have some insights from sort of like the left of center when it comes to political analysis. And I think that it would add a great balance, right? You'd have 2 people on the right and 2 people on the center / on the left on the air to analyze the election all together. So we will be doing this massive stream together starting on November 5th. Now, I have a tentative plan to start the stream as early as 6 p.m. Or no, not 6 p.m., 5 p.m. Because that'll give us time to put in predictions, talk about various things, maybe even react to just like the normal things that we would react to if it wasn't election season. If I can get on the air that early, then that's what I'll do. But at the very least, I will be live at 6 p.m. to react to the first state's polls closing, and then we'll be reacting to the entire election all throughout the rest of the night. So will there be cheating? Who knows? I'll be watching all of the live blogs from all the major news organizations to see. Who knows, right? I've watched fishy stuff come in live in state elections through the live blogs. So if anyone's going to be reporting on, the state of all the polling booths or whatever, it's going to be people like NBC News. I'm going to, figure out who the sources are that I'm going to use and all that stuff. That's still relatively up in the air. But I do know there's going to be a crack political team on the broadcast on Not a Newbie Streams to talk about the situation. Now, I'm not sure if this stream will be on YouTube or Kick. I'm still making up my mind about that. But if you want more details, join the Discord. All the information will be there. And hey, it can't hurt to join my to follow my Kick account. Hey, I stream there occasionally, so join that for fun. But yeah, that's the big announcement. I hope you guys are happy with this announcement. I hope you guys are looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to this election. I think it's going to be very, very interesting. And I have a suspicion that Trump might win. So that makes me a little bit happy. Only a little bit, because I don't really like Trump a whole lot, but I like him better than Harris. So it is what it is. But anyways, that's the announcement. Yeah. Hold on. Wait. So my younger sibling went, apparently has a penchant for rare things like I do, because she went and got these very rare like Coke flavored Oreos. She could not find them at the local supermarket, so she ordered them and imported them from overseas. I don't know if it was overseas, but she imported them from at least another state, if not from another country. But she actually apparently left them outside of this door. She left me a little present, a little gift. I'm going to go over there, open it, take a little bite, see what I think of it. And it's going to be very interesting because I've already had the Oreo flavored Coke. So I wonder how it stands up to the Coke flavored Oreos. But hey, there's only one way to find out. Let's do this together. Alrighty. Here we go. Here we go. The cookies are here. The cookies are here. Take a look at this. What do you guys think about this? Do you guys like the artistry, the design? What is this? Besties forever? Limited time. Taste it while it lasts. Okay. Okay, I'm tasting it while it lasts. So are these like black on the outside or red on the outside? Oh, they're double-sided. Or not double-sided, but they're here. You can see it here. It's red on one side and black on the other. Very interesting. She's had some of these already, so. Oh my. This does kind of smell like Coke. Oh, look at this. Hold on, let me see if there's a way I can show this in a way. Come on, focus, 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 focus. Okay, there we go, look. Coca-Cola logo, nice, nice. And then on the bottom, your normal Oreo logo. And there's another one that says Coke. So you got Coke ones and you've got Coca-Cola ones. But my mouth is already watering. I'm gonna take a bite into this. Let's see how this goes. You know, this doesn't taste too much. Oh, wait, hold on. I'm feeling like something popping in my mouth. What the heck is this? This is a bizarre sensation. It's like, you ever had like a Pop Rocks or whatever? That's what it feels like in my mouth. It's so bizarre. Like my mouth is closed and I'm just feeling. I don't know if you guys can hear. Because I do have somewhat aggressive compression on this microphone. But like I'm hearing just like crackles inside of my mouth. Which is weird because I already swallowed. Which it also makes this such a like, I don't know, bizarre feeling and sensation. But I must say, taste-wise, this actually doesn't taste a whole lot like Coca-Cola. Now, I will say that I did put the Oreo side on my tongue. So let's go put this side on my tongue and see how that unfolds. No, it doesn't taste like Coke. That's so weird. It doesn't 100% taste like Oreos either. They taste like graham crackers. I'm not joking. I'm not joking. They taste way more like graham crackers than they do Coca-Cola. Not that graham crackers taste bad, but it's not what I expected. Coke nailed the Oreo flavor in the Oreo flavored Coke. For whatever reason, I guess Oreo couldn't do the same thing with Coca-Cola, which is like, Coca-Cola is an artificial flavor, so you would think that they'd be able to pull it off, but I don't know. Hold on, let me try this. I'm going to eat this. I'm going to eat this by itself, and let's see if this by itself tastes like the Coke. No. It's about as flavorless as a graham cracker. It does not taste like it. Wow. Man, this is a disappointment. Not that it's bad, by the way. Like, I think this is good. But, like, it's not what it's billed as, right? It's not what it's billed as. Like, it's like, imagine if you like lick an ice cream that's labeled like strawberry flavored, and it's like super spicy. Like, would I still like it? Probably. I like spicy foods, but like, it's not what it was advertised as. That's the impression I get with this. This is the first time, like, I do taste tests on this channel occasionally. This is the first time that I've like done a taste test, and I'm like, what is this? This is not what it seemed like it was supposed to be. I don't know what went wrong, but you know, at least this is only available for a limited time. This was, yeah, no, they rushed this one to market. They should have worked a little bit more on this. Jen Oddens in the chat says, FYI, crunching food into the mic on a live stream is not advised. Okay. I'm so sorry. No. Hey, you know, some people like ASMR. Let's give the people what they want. No, but my reasoning for chewing into the microphone is like, it's kind of awkward. You know, you're watching someone consume something and they're chewing it, and they've got to think about like what they're consuming. So, you know, they can't just like bite it and then start talking. And so what are you going to fill that airtime with when you're just chewing? Might as well fill it in with some ASMR. So that's what I decided to do. Well, anyways, thanks to everyone who tuned in. If you're a new viewer here, appreciate you tuning in. The link to my Discord server is on the screen. You can get more updates on when I'll be live and what I will be talking about when I'm live. If you click the link. Also, in special occasions, sometimes I accept call-ins, allow people to, you know, talk to me about various things, you know, debate, whatever. So yeah, you can join the Discord to participate in that avenue of this channel as well. Thanks for tuning in. Very, very short stream. Appreciate everyone who was in the chat. And yeah, I'll see you guys in another stream or on the Non-Newbie Highlights channel, where I upload clips from these streams 3 times a week, every Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Videos go up at noon. Yeah, so if you don't have time to watch a full stream, but only have time to watch like certain videos, or you're only interested in certain topics I talk about, I highly recommend checking that channel out as well. Jen Odden says, okay, mute the mic while you're chewing or drinking there, Mark. We like the referrals, but the eating sounds are distracting. Don't give up. Okay, hold on. This is interesting. So you actually don't like ASMR? I would have never guessed. Yeah, it's fine. One thing too is like all of these things I stream are basically segments for the Non-Newbie Highlights channel. Non-Newbie Highlights channel is the real main. So, you know, when I post the actual like episodes or like the actual videos, I might cut out some of that chewing. I'll include a couple bites, but like maybe it is a bit gratuitous to have like 15 minutes of me crunching on a little Oreo snack. So you might be onto something there. I'm not gonna cut it out of the live streams, but I'll cut it out of the videos. You make a compelling argument there that it's distracting. My only thing is like, what about the people who like it though? You know, that's my only thought. But anyways. I got to head out. Thanks for tuning in. Peace out, y'all.